So I've been an Android user since my very first smartphone. And to be honest with you, I've been a Pixel user since the very first one, 10 years ago. In 2016, I bought the Pixel 1. And ever since then, I've been on Pixels. But I think I'm gonna change that. And it's crazy because I'm gonna do something I don't think I've ever expected. And I'm really contemplating being basic, right? Becoming the most basic type of smartphone user. That's right. I'm thinking about putting my main SIM card in my iPhone, and I feel disgusted. Now, before I explain why I plan on doing this, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, jump into the comments, be active, because I want to keep doing these videos and I want to build a community of people who are just into tech, people who are beginners, and people who may be more experienced. But jump in, join the conversation, and let's get into this. So, like I said, I'm a big Pixel guy. To this day, I'm still a big Pixel guy. It's something about the experience and the usability and simplicity with the ability to go more complex if you want to that I absolutely love. And we know me, I tend to stand up for them when other people are a little harsh. But that doesn't mean I let them slide, right? They are bound to make mistakes. But I will say this, 95% of the time, I'm enjoying the Pixel experience. In fact, I think the Pixel experience is the best Android experience 95% of the time. It's that small 5% where we have a little bit of issues with the GPU problems. You know, the most recent Power VR GPU in it is not the best, but in all honesty, I only notice that problem 5% of the time. If I'm playing a more heavy-based game or if I'm video editing, those things, you know, with a game, you might have to drop the graphics down, or video editing is going to take longer. But those are 5% of my experiences with a phone that I'm only noticing those side effects. So why do I want to leave? Well, let's put it this way, right? I always believe a phone is more than its spec sheet. And I love the fact that that's where Google resides. They know software is extremely important, and that should be the main focus because that's what we experience 90% of the time we're using a phone. And I think that experience is way more important than having a powerful GPU. I don't think good hardware can lift up bad software, but good software can definitely lift up bad hardware, right? But here's the problem. Here's where I'm losing my faith. And I think Google made a bad bet. They bet on software and AI. Brains over brawn, which usually brains wins that battle, right? Here's where the bet fell off. In the smartphone game, and honestly, in a lot of other situations, you can't have the brains without the brawn. Yes, the brains will think of the solution, but you're gonna need a little bit of muscle to pull it through. And that's where the bet fell apart for Google. So if I haven't had any problem with the Pixel 10 being weaker, why the future of Pixel doesn't look like it's for me? It's because Google seems to be doubling down. Based off some of the rumors we saw, they might actually go to a weaker GPU. Now, it's not official. The only form of knowledge we have on this is kind of the name. Technically speaking, the name of the chip that they're going to use or rumored to use, it doesn't exist yet. But if you look at the name and structure, it seems to insinuate that it's based off of an older, weaker GPU than that was in the 10. And right there's the problem. See, I'm all for giving Google time to flesh out their product. I thought that they were going to do the Apple route, and it seemed like they're going to do the Apple route. You focus on the software and the experience first, and then when you nail that, you make the hardware even better. So that way that experience that's already good with weak hardware ends up shining on better hardware. Google seems to be taking a step back, and this is my problem. If they go backwards, I'm done. If you're doubling down on weak hardware, even if it doesn't really affect me, it just shows me that where me and Google's, where we used to sync on the future of Pixels is slowly going away. Now, why iPhone? You would think I'm an Android guy. Go to Samsung. Well, that's that software thing again, right? Yeah, I know One UI is a lot better than TouchWiz, but I still don't like One UI. It's not that it's bad, it's just not for me. It's a little clunky and it's convoluted, and I use more Google services, so going around the Samsung apps, it just feels messy to me. But they nailed the hardware. In fact, they built their name off of great hardware. Their whole strategy is bigger number, better phone. And sadly, the masses fall for that. But with them working on their software, you know, I can see it. I understand it. But it just never hit me the same. I never enjoyed the experience the way I have on a Pixel. But you know what I have enjoyed? The experience on the iPhone. And now with certain things happening, this really makes me feel like what I wanted and expected out of Google, the iPhone is doing. Let's jump in with this. Let's talk about it. I come to find out that the iPhone does about 90% of what I wanted the Pixel to do, whereas the Pixel is still doing roughly 80 to 85%. Small difference, but in everyday usage, it adds up. So like I said, in about like 90% of my daily interactions, I enjoy the Pixel and the iPhone at a very close level. There's some things about iPhone I still don't like. No universal back gesture. That's one of the big things. Pixel outdoes it when it comes to like call screening, and that might start changing because Google's given Apple access to their Gemini Foundation to build upon for Siri and make it better. And I'm still on the wait list on my iPhone. I'm waiting to see how that is. But if iPhone nails that, what reason do I have to go to a Pixel? If iPhone ends up getting the smarts that I love on a Pixel, what reason do I have to stay? You see, I love the camera on the iPhone. I still prefer Pixels, but the difference is so close that I'm not going to care if I only have my iPhone with me. And it's one of the few phones that has the shutter speed that I like when it comes to taking fast moving pictures. It's Pixel and iPhone for me. Samsung's always lagging behind on that. Even the shape and the feel, very similar. In fact, I kind of like the way the iPhone feels in hand better. They're both 6.3 inch screens, but the iPhone is a little shorter and slightly wider, which feels better to me. And they're both aluminum, but the iPhone has the matte rails, which feels better to me. The hardware on the iPhone is exactly where I want it to be on a Pixel. And the Pixel seems to be going backwards when it comes to certain things, more internal hardware. And I just don't understand why. I get it, you want to focus on AI, but every year you should get better, not worse. And when it comes to video and software, the iPhone kind of gives Pixels a run for its money. I just got on the 27 build, but even on iOS 26, I didn't have much problems. And it ran smooth, it was fine, it was clean, easy to use. There's still some weirdness on like wallpaper pickers. I hate on the iPhone, I think it's terrible. Notifications are bad, but these are small nitpicks, and I have a lot of small nitpicks with the Pixel, so it's a trade-off. Customization even is slightly better on the iPhone in certain cases, especially the lock screen and even some form of the icons. You have some ways to maneuver it and change it the way you like it. So I'm not really missing much by leaving the Pixel because the Pixel keeps deciding not to do much, if that makes sense. So it puts me in a weird position because I love Pixels and I don't know if I could put my main SIM in an iPhone, but I'm really thinking about it because if the iPhone is doing even a fraction more than what I want the Pixel to do, like I always say, I'm loyal to the hotness, man. I'm loyal to what works. And right now, the iPhone is working just a little bit better. I really want to see what happens with the Pixel 11, but the rumors aren't making me too excited. Yeah, the new camera hardware looks great, but that GPU, people want to use their phones for everything. And I think weaker GPUs is going to result in weaker AI, which is going to give iPhone, when that new Siri fully launches, another leg up. If these rumors are true, I'm going to still keep my Pixel. But I'm going to put my main SIM card in my iPhone. And I'm going to become basic, which is disgusting to me as somebody who likes to go against the grain. But let's be honest, is basic really that bad? Not if it works. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you feel about Google Pixel's trajectory and what they're doing in the future. If it stands, if you agree with it, if you want something different, let me know what you want to see out of a Pixel. And let me know what you think if I should fully commit to switching to an iPhone or give Pixel another chance. Once again, thanks for letting me talk about tech. Peace.